happy dry December. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name's Elizabeth. I make videos talking about my sobriety and living an alcohol-free lifestyle in your 20s. But my channel is really for anyone who is thinking about whether alcohol is helping them live their best life. Today's video is very exciting because we're going to be talking about dry December. It's the beginning of the holiday season. This is my absolute favorite time of year, and this is going to be my second sober holiday season. Now I'm going to be doing a dry December series of videos. It's not going to be a daily sort of vlogmas post, but I am going to be creating more videos talking about staying sober in the holidays, tips for getting through things like holiday parties, my favorite seasonal non-alcoholic drinks and cocktails. But I wanted to make sure I got a video out before December begins for everyone who's considering doing dry December and talking a little bit about why being sober for the holidays is so awesome. So if you've been thinking about doing dry December, or you've been sober curious this year and are considering staying sober for the holidays, or just looking to do a challenge even if you're not planning on staying sober forever, I wanted to sit down and talk a little bit about how the holidays are so much more magical without alcohol. For many people, the holiday season is really a heavy drinking season. It's all about imbibing, and a lot of times culturally that is a time where you consume a lot of alcohol. If you've watched any of my other sobriety videos or you follow me on TikTok, one thing that I talk about often is how there isn't a great time to get sober. And one trap that I fell into for a couple of years while I was sober curious, around this time of the year, I would postpone my goal to quit drinking alcohol until the new year. And this became problematic for a few different reasons. Number one, New Year's resolutions are really, really difficult to stick to because you create a lot of pressure to change your life all at once at the beginning of the year, and then when you fail it can just be incredibly devastating. One trap that I fell into when I sort of said I was going to quit drinking on January 1st too is that in the month of December, then, knowing that I was planning on quitting drinking in January, I would go really, really hard in the Christmas season and drink way too much. There was a time in my life a few years ago where if you had told me that I would prefer the holidays sober than when I was drinking, I wouldn't have believed you. But that really has been my experience, and I'll tell you why. Number one, and this might be a weird one to place first, the holiday season, in my opinion, is one of the best opportunities to play around with non-alcoholic alternatives, because a lot of the seasonal drinks that people like to enjoy for the holidays are really, really easy to turn into non-alcoholic alternatives. For example, one of my absolute favorite drinks for this season is called Glühwein. There's a lot of different versions of this. It's essentially a mulled wine. I'm from Germany. It's something that's very popular back home, something that you have at like Christmas markets, where you have red wine that you heat up with spices and fresh oranges and enjoy as a hot beverage. But this is a fantastic drink, for example, to make non-alcoholic. Non-alcoholic red wine is typically already on the sweeter side, and once you get spices in there, you can really recreate the atmosphere of alcoholic Glühwein without the booze. And this goes for other sort of non-alcoholic liquors that I think are the best alternatives, or the most tasty alternatives that are like the alcoholic version. Things like spiced rums or stouts, even sort of wintry gins. Those kinds of non-alcoholic alternatives are really great to recreate because they have a lot of flavor. And I'll make a dedicated video with some of my favorite non-alcoholic drink recipes for this season with sort of seasonal themed drinks. So if it's giving you reservations to get sober for the holiday season because you don't want to miss out on tasty drinks, know that there are so many delicious things that you can drink for the holiday season, especially that are non-alcoholic, that are just as tasty as the alcoholic version. And this brings me right into number two, which I think is really important. A lot of times we associate alcohol with these happy, fun, festive events, so much so that we think that alcohol is the reason that they are happy or festive or fun. But when you really think about it, going to a Christmas party with your family or your friends is not fun because you're drinking. It's fun because you're surrounded by the people that you love, feeling grateful and joyous. Alcohol just happens to be a part of that scene, so it's very easy for our brains to make the connection that like alcohol is connected to that fun. Reading a lot of Quitlet, especially Annie Grace's This Naked Mind, which I highly recommend. One sort of, philosophical experiment that she talks about is if you took a bottle of red wine into a room and you had no television, no phone, no friends, no book, nothing to do except drink your wine, would you still have the same experience? A good chance is that the answer is no. When we drink for every happy, celebratory, festive occasion, of course it's really hard to imagine those things without alcohol in them, but alcohol is not the reason that they're fun. That's something that really changed my view on drinking, especially for something like the holiday season, where there is so much to be celebrated, and alcohol sort of culturally plays a part of that, but doesn't necessarily contribute to the experience. And this flows right into reason number 3, which is that it's worth experiencing the holidays sober. Even if you're not someone who's planning on getting sober, even if you're not someone who considers themselves to have a problem with drinking, I think it's so important for us to put ourselves out of our comfort zone and try something different. Now, especially for something like the holidays, there's a good chance that, you haven't had a sober Christmas season since you started drinking. You might not even know what it's like to have a sober holiday experience. And here's the thing, alcohol is not going anywhere. If you want to drink in January again, you want to drink next Christmas, you want to drink for every Christmas after that, that's totally fine. But I feel like it's a disservice to yourself to not try sobriety on for size, and there's no better time to do that than December, where you're already surrounded by joy and happiness and lights and festivities, as opposed to January, which is like the most depressing month of the year in my opinion, where you might already be kind of struggling through the winter blues, and then on top of that, cutting alcohol out of your life just can be extra difficult. You know what? I'll actually break that into reason number 4. Doing dry December is much easier, I think, than doing dry January. December is a fun, happy month. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, it's bright, it's about family and community and friendship. January is a very dark, depressing winter month where it can already be difficult on its own to make it through the month. Cutting alcohol out of your life in January just seems like an extra challenge that you might not necessarily need. Cutting alcohol out in December with the fantastic non-alcoholic alternatives, the fun vibe and atmosphere of the season already, and being surrounded by family and friends just makes it a lot easier to experience that fun without alcohol. Reason number 5, you feel so much better. If you cut alcohol out for the month of December, you get to experience a more present festive season. You get to wake up every single day without a hangover. You can go to a holiday party every night of the week and wake up feeling refreshed the next day until your social battery dies. You get no embarrassing holiday pictures. You don't make a fool of yourself at the company holiday party, which seems to be an unfortunately common scenario that people find themselves in when they're drinking. If the holiday season is difficult for you, not drinking alcohol is also a better way to take care of your mental health. While the season is obviously big for drinking on the social side of things, a lot of people might also find themselves self-medicating with alcohol to get through those difficult things. I love the holiday season, I love to romanticize it, but it's also a very stressful time of year. It can be a lot. By removing alcohol from the equation, you're taking better care of yourself, and you can fill that time with something that is more constructive to your well-being, like taking baths or curling up by the fire with a book, drinking hot chocolate, spending mindful time with friends. All of those things are more effective in the long term in terms of relaxing you and helping you cope than alcohol is, unfortunately. Reason number 6, if you are someone who is planning on cutting alcohol out of your life completely, starting now for December means that by the time you get to January 1st, you'll already have that first month under your belt. I've mentioned this in my other sobriety videos. The first 2 to 3 months are the most difficult part of sobriety. This is sort of the very bumpy time where you are breaking a potentially very regular habit in your life. You're navigating all these new experiences sober, being social without the crutch of alcohol. By the end of the first month, by the time you hit sort of 30 days, you feel a lot more confident in yourself, especially for someone who hasn't had a good streak of sobriety. If you struggle to sort of get through 1 or 2 weeks, in my opinion, December is a fantastic month to do this because you're already surrounded by hopefully supportive friends and family. It's a happy season where there's already a lot of opportunities to distract yourself and keep yourself busy. And by the time you hit the end of the month, going into the new year, you already have 30 days under your belt. Reason number 7, I feel like I've kind of touched on this in the video already, is that not drinking in December can help you avoid a lot of unnecessary drama. Alcohol has a terrible way of bringing out the worst in people, and especially in sort of difficult family dynamics, alcohol can just really be fuel to the fire. By cutting alcohol out, you can show up as your best self, create better boundaries around your peace and your energy, and make it a little bit easier to avoid getting involved in sort of toxic situations, especially the ones that involve drunk people. Reason number 8, and this is just an added benefit really, you can save some money not drinking in the holidays. If you're someone that goes out, a lot of restaurants offer non-alcoholic options, which is something to ask if you don't see it on the menu, and they're typically cheaper than alcoholic options. And if you're not trying to save money during the holidays, you can funnel those funds towards gifts for other people, treats for yourself, or just desserts at restaurants when you're out. And last reason, number 9, and this is actually my favorite reason to not drink during December, is that you get to experience the holiday season with a childlike joy. When we think about how mindlessly we consume alcohol over the course of the whole year, a lot of times we don't even make a conscious decision to drink, which means that we associate alcohol with pretty much everything. In my sobriety journey, one of the things that I really had to relearn was experiencing life with this sort of bright-eyed joy. And that was really hard in the beginning because I had to relearn how to look at the world, at my life like that, romanticize things and see the magic everywhere when my mind wasn't intoxicated by something. That first year experiencing all of those things like birthdays and holidays and then the Christmas season was just something very new and different to navigate. I hadn't not drank for the holidays in many years, and I was so nervous going into the holidays last year, I remember, because I was so afraid of not having fun without alcohol, but I was so pleasantly surprised to have mindful and present fun with my friends and my family and just myself. I got to experience the holiday season in an entirely different and more meaningful way. And for the first time in a long time, I really had that like childlike excitement for Christmas, where instead of wine, being around my friends made me feel warm and fuzzy as if I was drinking. Playing around with new mocktails and drink ideas, getting dressed up, decorating my home, all of those things took on a whole other level of joy than before. And that is something I think that sobriety teaches us that I value so much, because it allows you to show up in life and experience this gift with just such a level of appreciation and gratitude. One thing about my sobriety is that I became so emotional. Like I could look at a sunset and it could make me cry. I was just so overwhelmed by these feelings that I felt that alcohol numbed. And if there's one thing I wish I could gift anyone watching this video, it's experiencing Christmas with that sparkle again. And I think doing Dry December is such a fantastic way to get back in touch with that. If you're seeing this video November 30th and you've been thinking about doing Dry December, consider this your sign to try it out. You might be surprised at how much you enjoy not drinking during the holidays. Even if it's difficult at some points, that challenge is so worth it in the long run. And if you're someone who's considering sobriety long term, starting today is not going to be any harder than starting on January 1st. And if you're sober curious or you're just looking to try something new, staying sober for the holidays can add to perspective on how alcohol plays a part in your life, how alcohol plays a part in your celebration of the season, and how different your life can look without alcohol in it. And if you're seeing this video in December and you're bummed that you didn't start Dry December on December 1st, that's totally fine. You can start today. You're always one decision away from changing your life. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe to my channel for more sobriety tips for the holidays, recipes coming up for non-alcoholic drinks. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if it was helpful. And check out my other videos on sobriety tips and my own sobriety journey. I'll have those linked at the end. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.